If you follow me at all, you know that I don't have any particular love for the so-called dating coaches out there. Most of them have no clue what they're talking about, as evidenced by the fact that they're not even in relationships themselves. And add to it, they're usually very young, which means their actual dating experience is very limited. And don't even get me started on long-term relationship experience. But they love to give advice. Now, normally I focus on the female dating coaches who give absolutely atrocious advice to men, advice that more often than not is really designed to make it easier for women to take advantage of the men, not actually be interested in dating or relationships with them. But then there's the male dating coaches. And more often than not, they're worse. Far worse than the female dating coaches. For example,
never ask for a kiss.
Oh, dude, you couldn't be more wrong with that piece of advice. That may have been applicable 50 years ago, maybe even 30 or 20. You know, back before you were even born. But now in 2024, oh, hell no.
It shows that you don't believe that she wants to kiss you.
No, what it shows is that you believe that false allegations are rampant, and rightfully so, I might add, and there's every bit as much of a chance that you're going to end up facing charges as it is she's going to be receptive to that kiss. That is the reality these days. And any man who doesn't understand that is a fool at best and possibly going to end up in prison at worst, especially if he takes this joker's advice.
Which is clearly the definition of a lack of confidence.
No, it's the definition of a highly intelligent man who's weighed the pros and cons of being romantic in the post-Me Too movement era and realized that the risk is simply too great to make any assumptions whatsoever. Hell, even asking and getting verbal consent now isn't enough. Not in an era when it's believe all women and women are retracting consent 20, 30, even 40 years later, and men are facing charges and having their reputations ruined and possibly even ending up in prison because of it. Not only should he ask her for that kiss, he should get a signed, notarized statement of consent in writing, along with accompanying video evidence to prove that she has indeed consented to said kiss. And no, I'm not exaggerating. It really has gotten to that point.
Instead, show your confidence by recognizing that the tension is there and that you're not afraid to call it out.
Which is just another fancy way of saying, be that idiot who just made assumptions that she wanted that kiss and leaned in to get it, only to subsequently facing a harassment or SA charge for doing so. Again, this advice is horrible, and I'm fully aware there's nothing romantic about what I'm saying, but that is the reality men live under in 2024, and it's time men realize that. Because let me tell you, every man I've interviewed for my books, every man I've interviewed for our podcast who's faced a false allegation has said the same thing. I never thought it would happen to me, and yet it did.